Well. Here we are again for another episode of Honest Exchange.
Yes.
I'm Josh, and I'm here with my other smart, intelligent,
yeah.
individual who's going to share some information with me today.
Yeah.
It's on you today.
Tell me more.
It's on you today.
What's on me?
You're going to do most of the talking today. I'm just going to do the listening.
No, we're conversing. This is Honest Exchanges.
Okay.
And we always talk about amazing things.
Yes.
Last time we were here, we spoke about, well, for one, this set is just funny because last time we were on couches, comfortable, and they were like, we're very serious, America.
Very serious.
We're honed in on what we're going to be bringing you today. So please pay attention. And hopefully it's something that gets you to think critically, right? Because that's one of our goals.
Absolutely.
So last time we met, we spoke about identity, right? Yeah. And how it could be difficult to figure out what that is, especially in a world where I think there's a lot of people borrowing other people's identity. Can I say that? You know, they don't really know how to step away from the pack, so to speak, and like be their own person.
Okay.
So it is only fitting, and I think we touched on this the last time, how identity correlates directly with your purpose.
Yes.
You're right. Like when you know who you are, you know why you're here, you know what you're here for. Or no, you wouldn't know what you're here for if you have your identity. You just know who you are, but you may want to know, what can I offer? What do I offer? What do I bring to the table? Mm-hmm. So before I get your thoughts on like how those two are connected, I wanted to share with you, I had looked up synonyms of purpose.
Okay.
Right? Because we know I think most people know what purpose is, but when I wanted to get like other words to describe that, like what is that?
Okay.
So the synonyms I found were aim, goal, intention, mission, and design. And for some reason, that design stuck out to me because we spoke about who designs us, right? Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts on purpose and identity?
So there's a passage that always stands out to me that Solomon writes in Ecclesiastes 3. To everything there is a season, a purpose for everything under the heavens. So season is in relation to time. Purpose is defined as the reason for which something is created or made. Mm-hmm. And so when I think about purpose, and then you mention design, it really makes my mind go back to Bible study in Ephesians, where it says that we are God's workmanship, his handiwork.
Yeah.
And so in the beginning, when God created us, before we were in our mother's womb, God already had a purpose. God already had a plan about what we would do, what we would become if we are obedient to the plan. And so when I think about a design, I think about the fact that nobody knows the mindset of the artist. So ultimately, even if the design is flawed, nobody would know but the artist.
Deep.
So in relation to purpose, we have a lot of people who feel like how they were purposed, the reason that God purposed them for, is wrong. So they do altering and changing of things because they feel like it doesn't fit in their purpose. But the question is, like, you're not the artist.
Right.
You're not the designer. So how can you say my purpose is wrong or my purpose is incorrect? And so I think that one of the ways to get a clear understanding of your true purpose is by connecting with the designer. It has to start there.
Right. What would you say to somebody who has a hard time understanding that when they were knit together in their mother's womb, before they even appeared on earth, the Lord had already determined their design and their purpose? Like, what would you say to somebody who can't really understand that?
So I would say, didn't you buy the cell phone that you have?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know the parts that's made inside of it. You didn't know the mechanics of it,
Mm-hmm.
but you bought it.
Right.
Because you seen that it could be of use for you. If you, and you didn't call the company and say, who made this?
Mm-hmm.
How did y'all make it? All in details, things like that. And I use this example because I worked for a technology company,
Mm-hmm.
and we worked on government and pharmaceutical patents. So in order for you to create something, you have to submit the patent to the U.S. Patent and Trade Office.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to see the inner workings of all these different things that were created. And a cell phone was one of them. The iPhone was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so to see the different parts that make the phone,
Yeah.
and we may not agree with some of the companies that make some of these pieces, but yet we still buy the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't agree, or even if you don't understand, it still doesn't deter you from investing.
That's deep. Like, you're trusting, even if you don't agree with all of the parts, you're trusting that
it's gonna get the job done.
Right. Yeah. That's a very good example, because I think that's hard to comprehend, and we know as believers that the Lord gives us free will to do what he wants us to do or not. Excuse me. But I found that even though there will be challenges, right? Even though there will be confusion, it will be frustration doing what God is calling you to do, because it's not like it's a cakewalk just because he told you to do it. The peace and like the feeling of, I know I'm supposed to be doing this. And even as I was preparing, like, I was really excited. Well, I'm always excited to talk to you because
Likewise.
we have great conversations, right? But like, when I was thinking about showing up today, I was like, I'm genuinely excited about what I'm doing. And I would have never realized how much I even enjoyed podcasting had the Lord not did some things where it brought it into my world, because I didn't even listen to podcasts, to be quite honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't like a podcast person. But when the Lord did things in my life to orchestrate me literally and figuratively being here, I was like, I get so much joy from that, you know? And again, it doesn't mean the road has been easy. It doesn't mean that like I know what the next week, month, year holds. You know what I mean? I don't know that, but the feeling of the peace and the joy for me doing what I know I was purposed to do, if that's a phrase, it's indescribable. You know what I mean? And that's the one thing I would like people to take away from this conversation is like, figuring out your identity in a world who's trying to tell you who you should be and what's acceptable and what's attractive and what's desirable. It's hard, you know, going against the grain, so to speak. Like, that's not easy. But the more you isolate yourself, because I think that's really what it takes sometimes, is for you to just, when I say isolate, not in an unhealthy way, but understand that certain things just have to kind of be put to the side for a minute so you can figure out what's going on with you, you know, based on your upbringing, based on habits and patterns and just life decisions. Like, you just need time to think, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, once you leave the pack and realize who you are and your identity, that's to me the next step. You're going to say, why am I here? What do I genuinely get joy in doing? Not who people or what people are telling me I should get joy in doing, or how I should be having fun and what should be fulfilling, but like, what really brings me joy. And to experience that, I feel is such a blessing and it's such an honor. And again, it doesn't mean that it's easy. It just means that it makes sense to you. You don't feel like something's missing.
So I feel like we should talk about the practicality of discovering purpose.
Okay.
Because you shared some things that I think will help listeners who are trying to answer some of the questions that you're raising about how do I discover my purpose, you know? And so for you to be where you are today,
Mm-hmm.
what were some of the steps in figuring that out?
That I had to get to. So the biggest one I feel was like disruption.
Okay.
Right? Getting to a point where something wasn't working anymore. And I shared this before where, I was working as a registered nurse in healthcare. I did all the things, so to speak, right? Society is saying, I did the things that society made me believe was going to make me happy and fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't. So my norm was disrupted.
Mm.
And so for me, it's like something has to be going on here, because as long as you're content, you're going to be content, right? There are some people that wake up and say, I want to change my life today.
Yeah.
But I feel like you have to get to an emotional point, right? Mental and emotional point where you say something is not working anymore. And for me, it really took disruption in a very, at the time, it was problematic, because it was like, it wasn't my norm. I was just feeling very uncomfortable. So I think for my journey, like my norm and my contentment had to be disrupted for me to think bigger. Like, okay, I went to school, I got a degree, I got the good job, I made the good money, I've done the things, I've traveled. Like, what else? What else? So that's the first step.
I want to say this because this made me think about that checklist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That we live in a dispensation of time where we're constantly making sure that we're checking things off on our lists.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't check off these things, then it's like we're not doing life correctly.
Right.
So, but what happens when the things that society puts on our lists is not the path that the designer is trying to use to get us to the finish line? Can we be okay with, I didn't get the degree.
Yeah.
But I went to school, I left, I got a great paying job, and I figured out who I was, and I figured out my purpose, and now I'm walking in it now.
Yeah.
Like, are we okay with varying off society's path to still be in line with the path that the designer has chose for us? And sometimes to the point that you made, that comfortability.
Yeah.
If we don't move from it, we'll find ourselves enslaved to it.
So true.
Enslaved to a position because it's bringing in the kind of money. I'm living the life that I want to live. I'm driving what I want to drive. I'm wearing what I want to wear.
I got the
all
titles,
of those. I got the titles.
status
You know what I mean?
symbols and all that.
When I go back to the reunion, I can say,
yeah.
"Hey,
I'm it. Like,
I'm
look
it."
at me
You know
now.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
It checks. We're checking off society's boxes, but we're checking off boxes, but feeling empty on the inside.
Seriously, that's exactly how it feels.
Yeah.
Just empty, like. And I think, I know that's why I also, you hear of celebrities, right? Because from the worldly perspective, when you have money, like, life's problems are over. And these are the people that are still abusing alcohol and drugs and getting into some crazy situations, almost like self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's like, okay, the world told me that this is what was going to make me happy. But now that I'm here and I'm realizing I don't know. Like, is this it? And especially if you get, like, run into money at, like, a very young age, you know what I mean? Like, in your 20s or something, or even in your 30s, 40s, because that's still fairly young, where, okay, I got to live the next 40, 50 years of my life in this. Like, I've achieved what the world said I was supposed to achieve. Yeah. So I'll ask you the same question. Like, when it came to discovering your purpose, like, what was that first step that had you put in the right direction? I think you told me.
Crisis. Crisis. I found myself in a crisis. I was frustrated with the institution of church. because of ageism.
Mm.
And I went to school, to college with that frustration and kind of told God, this is where we part ways.
Mm.
And it was crisis. It was doing my own thing and then ultimately having too much fun at a party one night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you told me this story.
And almost having like a near-death experience. And then waking up and hearing God say, it's life or death.
Mm.
You choose. And I was like, I ain't ready to die yet. I ain't ready to die yet. You know what I mean? It was like, I choose life. And so since then, I've been walking in purpose. Now, another thing that happened very close to that time was my mom had a stroke.
Mm.
One of my friends in college, the same week that my mom had a stroke, one of my friends in college was hit by a drunk driver and helicoptered from Westchester University to the University of Pennsylvania in the city. And my siblings had told me, like, we good, we got everything covered, you ain't got to come down. And my friend was helicoptered to the same hospital my mom was in. And my college roommate said, we driving down, come on.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom saying to me, like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, well, this is what happened to my friend. And I said, ain't no way I'm coming down here and not coming to see you.
Right.
And she said, God set this up for a reason. I'm like, rest. Go to sleep because I ain't trying to hear this right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I came home that weekend and rededicated my life.
Wow.
You know, and it's funny because I'm thinking about how I recently, was sharing about Josh having this moment where he wanted a fresh start with God.
Yeah.
In his freshman year in college. And I had the same experience of like, I got to choose purpose. And it's not easy because when you choose purpose, it doesn't mean that it's automatically revealed to you.
Not at all. Not at all.
In the beginning, you kind of walk blindfolded.
Yeah. I think you blindfolded the whole time. Well, right? I mean, I think what feels, when you know your purpose, I think you know what would make sense, right? Versus like, no, I'm not doing that. That's not for me. But it's still not like, okay, you chose purpose. All right, here's your instruction manual.
Exactly.
Day by day for the rest of your life, just follow it. And I think it's so fascinating that my word was disruption, yours was crisis. And there's a lot of people who are feeling disrupted and that they're in crisis. Yeah. So I think it just proves that to find your purpose, your true purpose, the reason why you were created, and really what would bring you the most peace and fulfillment, you have to feel terrible. Like, and that's, I mean, I wish it was a better way, but that's just not how it goes. And that's why it's like, I love that we have these conversations, because then people can understand that, like, it really takes some like unconditioning on so many different levels. And that's the one part that I've realized and am realizing, like, as I live out my purpose, like, it's going to be so many things, whether it was from your parents, whether it was from the church, whether it was from your friends, even just society, like your own thoughts of how it's supposed to go. Like, it's going to be so many things that you're going to have to undo. And that undoing process is not easy. You feel just, I will always describe it as when I first kind of started getting into my purpose, feeling like a fish out of water. Like, I remember using it and I would like pray and like, Lord, like, I feel so uncomfortable right now. I don't know who I am. You've separated me gradually from so many different things that I was doing, whether it was for comfort, whether it was a dependence, whether it was just routine, like this is what I do, these are the people I'm with, and to kind of strip all of that away.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like a fish out of water, but the theme of it, or not even a theme, but like what has carried me even to this moment is just like the peace that I felt. Like I'm doing what the creator wants me to do, even if I'm not going to have it all figured out, and he knows that.
Right.
But I know that I'm on the right side of it. You know what I mean? Like, even if I don't know what tomorrow brings, I would rather be over here than over there in a worldly state where they're going to chew you up and spit you out. Like, you know, 1 minute it's, oh, you're this or that. The next minute is them dragging you down. You know what I mean? Like it's too temperamental. I can't trust that. It's too shaky over there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So to be at this point where it's like, Lord, I don't know. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I feel secure in who I'm becoming, and I'm loving it. Yeah. And you're bringing opportunities in my life that I would have never thought about had you not opened my eyes and my perspective to something just bigger, you know, bigger than myself.
So I like the analogy of the fish out of water, because what it teaches us is that creatures who have a dependency on things for survival can survive without it. But the only way that you can survive out of the environment that you depend on for living is if there is another safety mechanism or another source that is providing you what you need to maintain life.
Right.
And so walking in purpose means I have to step out of the environment I'm used to and step into an environment that possibly I could die in.
Right.
But if I depend on God, then God's going to supply my needs and show me that actually what I was depending on for survival, I could actually live without.
That's a word right there.
And so purpose is understanding that what you're used to, because you talked about isolation, separation from some things, what you're used to, I can still survive without it.
Yeah.
You know, when people walk away from relationships, substances, and different dependency mechanisms. Sorry, messed that one up.
I got
when they walk away from those things, they see, there's life without it.
Right.
And good life. That's the other part.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Good life. In the beginning, sometimes it's like,
you don't feel like it.
I don't know if I can handle this. I don't know if I can live without this.
Yeah.
Take me back.
Right.
But in reality, sometimes we don't know the cost of going back to what we were dependent on. And is it going to be enough, or are we going to need a higher level
for sure.
of it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can use an example of like substances, right? Okay. Somebody who, and I remember when I was working as a nurse inpatient on the orthopedic unit, there were like a lot of knee replacements, maybe a hip replacement, like joint replacements. That's orthopedics. But you also get people that fell and broke something, and so they had to get orthopedic surgery. And I found in working on that unit that drug addicted people, they couldn't, like the normal level of pain medication was not going to cut it for them.
Yeah.
You know, you have somebody who over here, like, you know, we can get them Oxy 5 milligrams every few hours. They good. For people that were addicted to substances or even had a history of it, that wasn't cutting it. You might have to pull out the IV drip of the ketamine, which is horse tranquilizer.
Oh, have mercy.
Yeah. So saying that to say, right, like just your example of when you get dependent on something, when you really will need, and I don't know if I hope I connect here, right? When you really going to need it. Because before it was recreational, and this is no judgment to substance abusers. We know it's a whole reason, and that's a whole nother conversation. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, it was more recreational. You didn't need it.
Yeah.
Your body didn't need it. Let's say that. But now you're in a situation that you need it because you just got a surgery and the pain is real. And now we have to give you something higher that, okay, the blessing is you in the healthcare, right? So the doctors and anesthesiologists can like figure out the dosage for your weight. Like it's a whole thing. But at the same time, you're going to need more. So I just think, I don't know why I just thought about that when you said like, you can, even if let's say you step out of this, right? You're able to separate from this dependence that you had and you call yourself like, I'm going to just dabble a little bit. And now you realize not only do you need more, but I also feel like, and this is separate from the orthopedic surgery conversation, but you realize that you're not at peace with it or you're not settled with it because you've already, I feel like your awareness has been heightened, your perspective has been heightened, right? As long as you're content, you're content.
Yeah.
But once you understand that I have a purpose, like for instance, in my case, like I became alcohol free 7-8 months ago.
Okay.
And it was intentional, but it wasn't. I just felt like, again, it was things that the Lord was kind of just like stripping me of, you know what I'm saying? And I could be honest to say, I feel like I did have an alcohol dependence, in a way of like celebration, like, oh, happy hour, or, oh, I got this done, or I accomplished this, go celebrate, or, oh, you know, you're out with your friends, social. So, I mean, we know alcohol has just become the substance for so many different kinds of like moments and emotions. So as the Lord is like stripping things away, that was one of them. And it's just funny how even now it's not something that, like, I mean, I'm not going to say I don't have those moments, right? Where it's like, oh, you know, that would be nice. But it's also like, I've come too far and I understand what it feels like to not need it. Could I have it? I mean, it won't hurt, right? But, or it could, depending on how I use it and how much and whatever. But for the most part, I don't even think I could comfortably enjoy doing it because my perspective has opened and lifted, and the dependence has been stopped in a way, you know. And again, I'm not trying to say that temptation is not there. I'm not trying to say that, oh, I'm so far removed from it that I would never do it again. That's my goal. But I have to be humble to say, I hope that by me having this new feeling, this new perspective, this newfound purpose, that is now just disrupting things where I don't desire it because I did that already.
Yeah. So I think that, I mean, everything that you said was good, and I celebrate you because, you know,
thank you.
Making bold steps to fulfill purpose is not easy. Walking away from things to fulfill purpose is not easy. And to the point that you make about, you know, a higher need, that is absolutely true. And most of the time when people try to walk away from stuff, they need a higher need. Substance, whether it be sexual, it's a higher need. You know, we live in a society that is always thirsting for more. And so once I get a position, then I want a higher position. Once I make a certain amount of money, then I want to make more money. And so we constantly are trying to go after and achieve. And it sometimes can feel like we're never getting enough. And so we can find ourselves living off an adrenaline high that keeps us chasing for more, and we never find fulfillment. But that's because we're not operating in purpose. We're again on that checklist of what society says, because I gotta live like the Joneses. You know what I mean? I gotta, you know, I gotta dress like this, you know, because I can't buy one Burberry shirt. because I can't wear the same shirt every time I come out. So I gotta
Right.
have more shirts.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be predictable in my dress. You know what I mean? Like I can't get one pair of red bottoms. You know, because then I'm gonna wear the
They
red out
gonna
on
know.
that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know. So I gotta keep buying. I keep buying, and we become so comfortable with a lifestyle that we're not called to.
Yeah.
We're not called to. Literally, I struggle. I really do. I really do. I really do.
And why is that?
I struggle with spending certain amount of money on casual clothes. I could care less about casual clothes. So when I came and you was like, "Oh, that's a nice set."
Yeah,
this joint cost me $20.
Yeah,
all right,
crazy.
I ain't saying where I got it from because we ain't getting no free advertisement on here.
Right.
It cost me $20, and I put some kicks on to go with it to make it look like money.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
When it comes to putting a suit on,
oh, you going to drop some dollars?
Absolutely. They custom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's what I'm into. Because a part of my purpose in the role that I serve.
Yeah, you gotta look good.
I don't think you can talk to people about walking in purpose and being what you've been created to be and not match.
Yeah, you gotta look the part.
So if I look raggedy, y'all gonna be like, he's talking about God gonna bless us. He
Right.
a blessing. I always say blessed has a look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I remember you saying that one day in service. It cracked me up. I think you said favor has a look. And you told everybody to raise their hand if they think they favor, and you was going to let them know.
I'll tell you.
You said because favor got a look. So I was hoping that day. I was like, ooh, let me check myself in the mirror because I don't want him coming over like, put your hand down. You got to pray a little more, honey. You know, but
I give everybody at least a week to get themselves together. You know what I mean?
Because they ain't know that
come back the following week, right? What's your Sunday's finest on? You get an opportunity for a do-over.
Right? Because we want you to come as you are. Exactly. You know, so you ain't know. I give you a week though.
Exactly.
Maybe two.
But walking in purpose, I believe, releases things. And so we talked about two words: discomfort, disruption.
Yes.
Disruption
and crisis.
And when I'm gonna throw discomfort in there.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm also going to throw in chaos.
For sure.
When I think about words that connect to leading you to purpose, I've heard stories about chaos. I've heard stories about loss.
Yeah.
I found out who I am or who I've been called to be after this person transition.
Wow.
After this person walked away. That loss can create a sense of renewed purpose or discovering purpose. I think there's a lot of things that can lead us to purpose. Every person who gets to a place where they discover their purpose, it's not always negative words. Sometimes for some people it is, I met God. And I discovered my purpose.
Yeah.
Some people do have positive stories about discovering purpose. The question that came to my mind is, what hinders us or creates struggle for us to continue in purpose?
That's a good one. I think lack of company sometimes. It get lonely. I get so lonely. Seriously, it get lonely, right?
Yeah.
When you said loss, right? Loss, we know in a finite term would be death, right?
Yeah.
But it could be loss of a job, loss of a friend. You said loss of a partner, loss of our identity.
Yeah.
I felt like that was the loss I was experiencing. So loss comes with grief.
Yeah.
You know, you could grieve not necessarily, you don't always have to grieve over death. It could just be, you could grieve your own life. You could or old life rather.
Yeah.
You could grieve what could have been, especially if you were in a long-term relationship, even friendships, right?
Yeah.
You grieve, that person not being around. So, I think the loneliness and the lack of company, because I don't know the numbers, but I feel like, and I don't even want to make a general statement like this, but I just feel like there's a lot of people who probably are not living in their true purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. I don't want to generalize it, but
we see it.
True. Yeah.
We talked about it.
That's true. We
talked about it. We see it.
Right. So on that note, like, you may not come across too many people who could understand, because your purpose is not going to be mine. My purpose is not going to be yours. You know what I'm saying? That's the beauty of God being our creator. He's so creative. So he does different things for different people. And, there are certain things that should be a common theme amongst believers and amongst Christians, who God is using for his purposes. But I feel we all get to do something different, which is fun, right? Like, we're not cookie cutter Christians. Like, he lets us be he allows us to be a little diverse. So with that, I don't know. As soon as you asked that, I think the lack of company, that's what kind of just immediately, because also too, it goes back into what I said about like the isolation and solitude. Like, you have to, I think it's a part of the process, because if you get in comfort from people, right, or people validating what you're supposed to be doing, and you have all these people around you, then you're still truly not dependent on God to bring you through. You just want people around who could either co-sign what you're doing, validate what you're doing. And I don't know how many people can really fully walk into their purpose without it being just a you and a God moment, until he chooses to bless you with people that can just understand and relate in a very like authentic way.
Yeah. I think that's good. I would say sin. One of David's greatest struggles was sin.
Yeah.
And he was a man after God's own heart.
Right.
When he was out on that balcony, and he seen them, his friend wife. He seen his friend wife.
Let's just say what it is.
Practicing for the dance video.
She knew what she was doing. Let me just, I don't know. But
the song was supposed to be about her husband. But
right.
David felt like she was singing to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he found himself caught up.
Yeah.
Because you can be walking and operating in purpose, and literally the success of walking in purpose can go to your head.
Yeah. Especially when you reach a certain level, right?
Yeah. When you get to that status where you feel like, I've made it. I'm doing great. You know what I mean? I'm good, God.
Yeah.
Step off,
you
man. Because I got this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm all the way good.
The other thing is the crowning of the crowd.
Elaborate, please.
So, I said this about this whole idea when people die, they got these marching people who put this crown on you.
Never saw that.
And I said, I get tired of seeing it.
Really?
Yes, at funerals, yes. Because I don't think you should crown nobody. How can you give them a crown that only God can give?
So people will walk up to the casket?
They'll walk up to the casket before they close the casket, and they will place a crown, a tiara on the women's head, crown on the man's head, and I just be like, no, thank you.
Right.
If people can exalt you, if people can crown you, then they also can uncrown you.
Right.
I said it. It takes 10 to 30 seconds to go from beloved to be hated.
Yeah. Right.
Because People are fickle,
Mm-hmm.
phony, and fake.
Yeah.
As long as you're benefiting them,
Yeah.
they riding,
Right.
they got you.
Right.
But the moment they're not getting anything
Yeah.
from it,
yeah, it's a whole different story.
You fall back into the crowd.
Right. Yeah.
And so when you're walking in purpose, and now the crowd is no longer behind you, chanting you on, and now you're lonely. Here I go. I don't want to walk in purpose no more. I want to do whatever I got to do to get the crowd back behind me.
Right.
And so now you're misled.
Right.
Because you're willing to go back to get the chasers.
Yeah. To validate yourself, to feel more comfortable. I mean, it's a bunch of reasons.
Even Jesus leaves the 99 for the one.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you have to leave the 99. You have to leave the crowd.
And really be confident in who you are. And again, this goes back to our conversation about identity. Know who you are.
Yeah.
Practical way of doing that. Maybe like if you somebody who you realize, because you have to identify where your influence comes from, right? And I say social media because it's just the easiest thing to say. And I just feel like it's such a part of our day to day that it's just so many people are looking to that as a guide, whether they know it or not. So I would feel like, okay, I would say to somebody who feels like, oh, I don't know how to discover my purpose. Just don't get on your apps. Don't get on your social media apps for like 2 weeks. Just be with yourself. Just be with yourself.
That's scary for a lot of people.
It is. But what's scarier? You going, years going by, days going by. Like, time is moving. I mean, time is moving. So it's like, what's scarier? You looking up, so much time has passed. You've accomplished nothing. You might have accomplished everything the world was telling you to accomplish. You're not happy. You're not fulfilled. You're depressed.
Yeah.
You're tired of drinking it away, smoking it away, popping a pill it away, having sex. What Solange say, cranes in the sky? It's like it gets to a point where nothing can fulfill you because you're not walking in your purpose, walking and working in your purpose,
absolutely.
And so we talked about a few words like disruption, discomfort, chaos, crisis. I didn't realize it was 2 D's, 2 C's. I don't know why in my head that.
I don't know. It just
went together.
Me, so it just went together.
Yeah, that was good.
Why not? I could have came up with a third one, but
we leave it even 2 and 2. So let's get 4 words for like once you walk in the process, walk in the purpose. So now you got me with these words. I'm getting all messed up with them. What are more like, I guess, uplifting words to describe what it feels like when you kind of break ground? You went through the discomfort, you went through the disruption, you're still going through it, but it's not as intense as it used to be. Now, what would you say, what words would you use to describe what it looks like on that side when you are walking in your purpose and you know who you are?
So, clarity. Chaos.
Still chaos. True.
And the reason why I say it can still be chaos is because even when you're walking in your purpose, you can just be walking and still not know where you're walking. So Genesis 12, this is one of the first places we see mission happen in the Bible. God tells Abram, leave your family and your kindred and go to a place that I will show you. Abram leaves and he just starts going. He don't know where he's going.
Right.
He just starts going. That's chaotic. Because who just starts walking?
Right.
And not know where they're going? That's chaotic.
It is.
But it's good chaos. The other part about the chaos is leave familiar.
Yeah.
Leave your family and your kindred. If you leave your family, they gonna talk about you. It's chaos. It's a lot of chaos.
That's so true. That's so true.
So, but in order for nations to be birthed, Abram had to leave.
He had to, yeah.
That was his purpose. That was his mission.
Yeah. Design.
Yep. So clarity, chaos, courage. See them C's?
I see, yeah.
Okay.
I see the C's. I'm like, oh, he's just going to keep it going. Okay. Yeah, courage, for sure. Takes a lot of courage.
The last one I would say is confidence.
I like that. Yeah.
Come on, Josh.
Yeah, you did good. Right. All C's.
Yeah. Yes.
Didn't even mix them up.
No.
Yeah, I like that. Courage, clarity, confidence, chaos, parentheses, good.
Good. Yes.
Because it was a bad at first, and it was a good. I mean, I don't know if chaos could ever be good. It never feels good, right? But it is good. Yeah. So
chaos can be good for people who struggle with audibles. So, there's this lady who I do this podcast with, and she tells me that like I am like OCD.
Yeah.
And so, but I've discovered that sometimes God has to allow some chaos to happen in my life because I'm so regimented. And with God, you have to be able to accept when audibles happen.
Right.
Because everything does not always go the way you plan it out or the way you script it. And so sometimes you need a little chaos so that you can realize you ain't in control.
Can you clarify audibles? Because I keep thinking about edibles. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
It's so very... I'm like, wait, I don't think that's what he's talking about.
So audibles, so in football, there's a play that's called. And what may happen is the play's been called, the quarterback tells those who are on the field with them what the play is, and then they get ready. But then the quarterback may say, audible. Okay. It changes up the play. Okay. So I know what I said, but now I got to call an audible because the defense may have read what we're getting ready to do.
Okay, so we just scrapping it.
So we scrapping it and we're going to do something different.
Got you. Okay,
you know what I mean?
Thank you.
It happened with our Super Bowl defending champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. One game they were playing and the opposing team thought that they were about to go for the push tush. But instead of going for the push tush, they went with a run to get the ball into the touchdown zone. And so people who are like 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, like they can't handle
going outside of that.
I gotta fluff these pillows. I gotta straighten this up. I can't leave. You know what I mean? And so you need moments where there is chaos. So that you can be reminded that even if it don't go that way, it's still okay.
Yeah, that's true. Even if it don't go that way, it's okay.
Yeah.
I think that's good. Because a lot of us do want to be in control. You know, we feel safe when we're never in control for real, but we do feel safe when we think we know what to expect. So this was deep. This was real deep. And
you did most of the talking. So
no, I didn't.
It was on you. You was being deep today. So
I don't think so.
I came on here ready to be funny. And you
I know. I was like, we didn't even joke that much. Like before clown activity and then now serious. It's the table.
It's the table. It is the table.
It's the table, yeah.
We have grown up.
Yeah, it's official, okay? And thank you, listeners, viewers. I'm playing. But you know, like I'm like, why are we this is intense. But no, I think that's great. I think for anyone listening who feels hopefully this resonated. Hopefully it can just speak to how walking in your purpose, figuring out your identity, it won't feel great, but it is great.
Yeah.
You know, you have to understand that you won't be able to do it by yourself. You need not only, the most important thing you need is your faith in God, But I also think surrounding yourself with people that you could have these kind of conversations with, who can understand where you're coming from. Because there's a lot of people, as we know, when you start walking in your purpose, when you start figuring out who you are, they're trying to bring you down, trying to clown you, trying to, kind of, and you're already at a vulnerable state.
Yeah.
So you can't, in your vulnerable state, you can't allow people to come in and disrupt what you got going on, because you're already going to be disrupted already. So you have to really be mindful. And again, it's not easy, but it's so worth it.
Absolutely.
It's so worth it.
I would say everybody needs a purpose partner. Everybody needs somebody who will hold them accountable to fulfilling their purpose. And because every now and again along the journey, you need somebody to reaffirm you, to tell you, keep doing it.
Yeah.
I know it may not have happened as fast as you wanted it to happen. You may have hit some roadblocks, some hurdles, but keep pursuing.
Yeah.
Because it's going to pay off. You're not in a competition with anybody. And the finish line has already been laid out. So you just got to keep running with purpose until you finish.
Well, you had your serious voice on, so.
I try. You can
that's it. Yeah, that's it. So, yes, we spoke. We said a lot today. So if you need to, listen to this a couple times, or maybe break it up in segments, write some notes, please do. Please share it with somebody who you feel could benefit from this conversation. And you let us know if in the comments, let us know if it's anything in particular you want us to speak about. We'll be very involved in asking you to be very involved with what we'll be discussing moving forward, because we know it's heavy topics, but we want to lighten it up. We want to have a healthy balance. Absolutely. But again, our goal is to have these conversations that a lot of people are not having you put your thinking cap on, use your critical thinking skills, and really do some life-changing, transformational initiatives.
Yeah.
This table just got me so serious. So using big words and everything.
Cool. We just basically want you to have an honest exchange.
Yes, honest exchanges. We will be back and we will have more for you. Stay tuned.